Hi everyone, it's Elizabeth here. So thank you for taking the time to watch this video in regards to 3 ways to align your inner and your outer world. So in many spiritual theories, we talked a lot about this in yoga when I studied yoga back in 2007 with the yamas and the niyamas, which is part of the 8 limbs or the pillars that are associated with yoga. We discussed that your inner world a lot of times is a reflection of your outer world. A lot of people believe in this and a lot of people don't. Even something like the Bible talks about your body as a temple, so you should treat your body with kindness, with good health, abundance. Maybe not abundance in terms of monetary, but just healthy things in general. Like you can be abundant with love and with good family members. So the whole point and the notion is how to not kind of abuse your body, but a lot of times our psychological state is a mirror reflection of what's happening a lot of times in the outer world. In the yamas and the niyamas, they talk about keeping your body not only clean, but also your external environment. So one of the pillars of being like a quote unquote, I don't want to use the word good, but a proper yogi is actually through the method of keeping your physical environment clean and organized. Now, if you look at something like hoarding, or if you just look at a lot of American homes in general, we are attached to consumerism to where we have accumulated way too many goods. A lot of times we just have space, too much space in our apartments or our houses, and then we just end up filling it. So that corner's empty, so you end up buying a dresser. You fill up the drawers with a bunch of stuff that you probably don't need. You end up getting knickknacks. So things like this happen. But a lot of times, our psychological state can become a mirror reflection. So what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Is it the messy environment that makes us a little bit messy and disorganized in our minds? Or is it our minds, our messy inner world, or our messy emotional state, or our depression or anxiety that contributes to the the messy home? Now, some people are just cleaner and more organized than others. Some people have it, some people don't. So it's not always 100% accurate, but you tend to see the more common connections with people's lives, the chaos, the drama, the depression. Like I said with hoarding, if you look at if you start to peel back the onion layers of hoarders, they're not happy people. They're very lonely, they're sad, they're depressed. They're not mentally well or emotionally well. So this is why they've accumulated a bunch of things or pets, because those things bring them temporary amounts of joy. So a lot of it comes to lacking on a spiritual level. Now, we all know that we should have a proper diet and exercise. And the one thing to note about this concept of inner and outer world with your home is that that's what the church, the temple, the mosque, that's what those things replicate. Those are replications of our human body. And that's why spiritual theories, especially with Buddhism and yoga and in the Bible, when it says your body is a temple, your body is a mere reflection of the church. You never walk into a church and see a bunch of trash or litter inside, or just, dead flowers kind of sprawled out everywhere. It's like the churches and the temples are impeccable. In 2008, when I lived in a yoga ashram in Brisbane, Australia, we had to keep that place spotless. We were cleaning and we were sweeping the floors. We were cleaning the floors with rags. We cleaned all of our plates and bowls right after eating them. Everything had to be maintained to a certain higher standard. And that in itself does have a psychological effect. So the first way that you can align your inner and your outer world is by getting yourself organized. Most people go into a hotel lobby and they feel good because there's space, it's clean, there's not much stuff on the coffee tables. There might be like a vase of flowers. You walk into a church and you feel at peace and serene because those environments are serene. So if you want to start to realign your inner world, you have to start to declutter and get rid of things that you don't no longer need. So this is a great time because it's technically spring. We're probably about 5 weeks away from summer. The spring clean is like a way of detoxing. It's just getting rid of the cobwebs and the trash and the stuff that you no longer need. When your place becomes more organized, a lot of times you can think more clearly. My yoga guru back in 2007 in India said that when your space is clean, your mind can think cleaner. When your space is cluttered, your mind is cluttered. So whether you're unorganized or you're moving from one thing and the other, you're constantly like mentally multitasking, you can't really be at peace, or you can't have that mental clarity when stuff in your entire environment around you is a total mess. So the second way that you can start to realign your inner and your outer world is by cleaning up the inner world through your thoughts and your feelings. This is a really difficult time for a lot of people. And if you start to read certain things, like if you go to congress.gov and read the HR 6666, you can start to see that government is going to start to try to push things and agendas that are going to change the world that we know and live in because of coronavirus testing and being able to come up to your house to test you. This can be very depressing for a lot of people because we've been watching the world change for a long time. And one thing a spiritual friend has told me, because a lot of times, like for example, I can be skeptical and fixate on these negative things, is that my friend said no matter how much the external world around you is falling apart, you need to make sure that you maintain your thoughts and your feelings in your inner world to know that you're going to have a great life. If something globally or in our country catastrophically happens, like World War II or a Stalin grain drain, we're going to be in big trouble. These spiritual theories are not going to really apply at a time when you have to learn how to survive and be in fight or flight. But right now, we can still focus on our inner world. We can clean up our thoughts. Some people like to make vision boards. Some people like to do gratitude lists. Some people like to sit and meditate. They like to commune with God and nature, or just sit in nature and repeat mantras. I want to fill my life with love, abundance, good quality people, and things like that. So what can you do to not only think a little bit more cleaner or positively in your life? Like if you want to be surrounded by love, you need to do some things that are self-love. Maybe that's taking some time to decompress with an Epsom salt bath or cooking a favorite meal. And once you surround your inner world with some love, you can start to clean up your external environment. What brings more love into your home? Is it flowers? Is it candle? Is it, having a meal with your loved ones or with your family? So starting to think a little bit more clearly and making it a priority. How do you want to see your life? Most people don't wake up every day and say, God, I wish a bunch of alcoholics and sociopaths come into my life to completely wreck me. No, alcoholics at some point get fed up with feeling like crap to where they sign up for Alcoholics Anonymous. They're in denial about their problem, but eventually they wake up to admit that they have a problem. Not many people like feeling like garbage. So the second step is to start to clean up the inner world. So step one, decluttering the external world. Step two, surrounding yourself, your inner world, with things that you enjoy. What are 3 things that you want? Do you want love? Do you want beauty in your life that's not superficial, like being a model and, having like a hot boyfriend or girlfriend? It's like, I find beauty in old postcards and flowers, so I put that stuff up in my home, in my apartment. The third thing is to start to have a spiritual practice. For some people, religion has really messed things up, but I also think the New Age is messing people up. We are becoming so addicted to a lot of things like predictions and outcomes, and I'm not going to lie, the New Age industry kind of messed me up for a little bit, especially while being single, because I was always like, what's going to happen to me this month? Am I going to meet the one, or is this person a narcissist? It's like being addicted to energy things like tarot and psychic predictions. Like that stuff really messes you up. The one thing that you can do, the first step for a lot of people is actually dabbling with certain things. Like some people want to meditate, some people want to explore the Bible and go to church. There's really no one route. Eventually, you're going to have a destination, which is over here, which is finding a relationship with God. If you're starting down here, your journey is not a straight path. It's not linear, but it's basically a lot of up and down. So what can you do to start to initiate a spiritual practice? That's going to help activate your parasympathetic nervous system. It's going to remove you out of fight or flight. So you're going to be able to feel better. That's going to allow you to think better. And then eventually you start to build that relationship with God and realize that you can have that individual experience. You don't have to go to church. You don't have to consult energy healers and things like that. But a lot of it is wrapped around your mindset and your relationship. And somehow through your journey, you might take detours or might veer off to one road or the other as like a form of experimentation. But eventually you'll find your way in your path. So those three things, I do believe having a spiritual practice, a lot of people are saying getting woke and stuff like that. But when you start to have that spiritual practice, you can start to understand the natural laws of life. And that if you do believe in a creator or God, that God created this planet and the natural laws that go with it. So all of these things that are artificial, like artificial food and diet sodas and constant overuse of technology, the artificial way of living cannot replace the human emotion and cannot replace the connection that we have with other people. And I think right now with COVID-19, we have really come to learn that we are social creatures who crave not only human and social interaction, we crave emotional experiences, and machines and robots can't replace the human emotion. So these are some thoughts that I have. If you have any other thoughts or comments on this, I'd love to hear what you think, how you can kind of recreate your inner and your outer world. But, there's like quotes by Buddha. It's kind of like what you think you see. So if you're constantly in a negative mindset and see that the world is a horrible place, you want to try to balance that out. There's other people on the other end of the spectrum that are so naive and they can't imagine other human beings causing harm or the government wanting to cause harm. So the two ends of the spectrum are very similar. They're in the polar opposite area. It's time to come back to the middle and get a little bit more grounding. So, if your life is in constant chaos, maybe your emotions are in constant chaos as well. So maybe you need to balance that out by consulting a psychologist or a health coach or something like that. Anyways, these are some thoughts that I have. Feel free to share what you think. I'd love to hear what you think about some of this. And have a great rest of your day. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing, and see you next time. Bye.